Welcome. This session we will be discussing a new chapter today, that is the fourth chapter of semester 1, classification of animal kingdom. And what we'll be looking at exactly is introduction to classification of animals. Animal kingdom. Now in this, what I would like to look at is the criteria based on which animal kingdom is classified, and then the different categories or classified animal kingdom or what is a characteristic of classification of animal kingdom. So, as usual, I would like to ask you start with a question: why we need to classify animal kingdom, or so to say plant kingdom, what we have classified as well. So let's start with what is classification, then we'll come to why classification. What is classification? Classification is organizing identified organisms systematically into groups, isn't it? Now what is the need or why we need to classify? Since we have got a large number of organisms, we need to know these organisms, and it is not possible for everyone just to look at an organism, tell everything about it. So if it is classified, then we know this organism might have these characters if it is old. Or else what happens is that if it is new, then we may place it in a particular group, or we may create a new group. So classification is for better understanding of the organism, because we have got several different views. So different person may look at the same organism differently. So it is for a better understanding. Obviously it is to identify the organism, and this organism can be old. What I mean to say is that it's a already discovered organism or a new organism that you might be able to discover. Okay. Then you may create a new taxa or group based on the organism that has been discovered. If it is some organism which is already classified, known, then it's fine. If it is not, what you will do is that you will create a new group. So both, it is a possibility, it is there, and that's why classification is very important or useful. These four criteria gives a brief idea about why we need to have classification. And based on this, or similar to, on line of these, animal kingdom has been classified based on few criteria. Let's look at those criteria first and try to discuss one after the other. The basis on which animal kingdom classified is: one, its morphological features. That means whether they are having a specific shape or a size, okay, or a form, etc. are considered. What size it is, what shape it is, and how big it is, how small it is, what kind of form it has. The second aspect that is looked into is the similarity similarity and dissimilarity in some fundamental features in different animals. Now, what are these fundamental features that we generally talk about? The fundamental features can be levels of organization, which we will discuss in brief in the sessions coming up, like cellular level, tissue level and all. The second one is symmetry of the organism. Okay, what symmetry or plane it actually looks at. Okay. The third one is about the body cavity. The third one is about the body cavity, whether it is coelomate or pseudocoelomate and all. The fourth aspect that is looked at is segmentation of body. Okay, and the fifth aspect, let me just write it here, that is looked at is the notochord, presence or absence of a notochord. So, like that there are many, but we will be looking at these few in our next sessions for understanding on the criteria of animal classification or animal kingdom classification. Okay. Besides that, what we look at the different groups that has been classified in animal kingdom and their special characteristics or features in that. So let's move ahead and start with the levels of organization that is basically seen in case of these plants. Right. So in levels of organization, what exactly it means? What it means is that the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms is the cell. So some of the animals belonging to animal kingdom show cellular level of organization. That means for them the cell is everything. For them the cell is everything. For example, the protozoans, the poriferans, since protozoans are unicellular, all their activity are carried by a single cell. Hence, their structural functional unit is the cell. In case of porifera, although it is a multicellular organism, still what happens is that individual cells function. So that's why this also belongs to the cellular level of organization. Example of porifera is your sponge. Example of protozoa is amoeba and so on. But interestingly, protozoans are kept as a separate kingdom altogether recently, that is the kingdom Protista. But since they are animal-like, we can discuss on that, but porifera definitely shows cellular level of organization. The next level, of course, when a group of cells perform or similar in shape and size, combined together to perform a certain function or same function, then what is it called? It is called as the tissue. So there are some organisms or animals which show tissue level of organization in which they have got certain tissues to function. Okay, so the next level of organization is tissue level, and animals are categorized under that as well. In tissue level, for example, ciliates. Okay, ciliates like what? Example, Hydra. They show tissue level organization because their body is made up of several tissues. So they have group of cells which perform the same function. They have the tissues in them. And beyond that, all the organisms has tissues, but they actually show tissue level of organizations where cells performing same functions arranged into tissues in these organisms. Some of the tissues group together to become organs. Okay, so organ level of organization is basically seen in platyhelminthes. That is the flatworms which are seen, and they perform all the function in these particular organisms. And some of the organs become organ system, and organ system level of organization is seen from these annelids to arthropods to all the higher organizations, where organ systems are seen. Example of it is that they have got a digestive system, they have got circulatory system, and so on. But interestingly, in this case of organ system, lower organizations or organisms like annelids and so on have got a primitive type of organ system, while higher organisms like your apes, spices, mammals have got a higher order of organization. For example, if it is digestive system, in organisms like annelids and all, it is like Ascaliminthes and all, what we find is that it is a bag type of, is somewhat like a bag type. Okay, so digestive system is open on one side, while in case of higher organisms it is like a tube. It is like a tube open on both sides. So it is a complete digestive system, it is incomplete digestive system. Similarly, one more example can be taken for circulatory system. In cases like arthropoda and mollusca, the circulatory system is open. It is in arthropoda. I am just giving one example. And in higher organisms like mammals and all, it is closed. What does that mean? That means there will be some kind of pumping organ. Okay. Sorry. And it has got arteries that supply blood to different part of the body and opens directly into tissues. And from there it will be collected back and brought back to the pumping part of the body. This is where it is open. In case of closed, at no place the blood circulating through the blood vessels is directly open into tissues. So you have got a pumping organ like the heart, then the blood vessel artery to supply. Okay, it breaks down into capillaries, and these again join together, these capillaries join together to become the vein, and blood goes back to the heart. So it's a complete system. So this is closed system. Okay, so this is how you have got the organ systems which are either highly organized or less organized in case of lower organisms. So again, in organ systems also there is a difference. So what I mean to say that there are different other organ systems also which are different in organisms or animals of lower level and higher level. But overall, level of organism is seen in different organisms. One picture you can see here, cellular level, you have got protozoans and the porifera, then tissue level is the coelenterata, then organ level and organ system level or segmental animal levels. So we will look at the other aspects of classifying the animal kingdom in our next session or part of our next session. Thank you.